Chapter 25. Key. Yes. A key. Considering the form of a door which this seal has taken, a key is necessary to open it. You would be in possession of that key. Naruto, stop. Please stop. Roar. Forgive me, my friend. I'm so sorry. Naruto. Emilia shot her eyes open, her body shot up from the bed, and troubled to breathe from her chest. Her eyes shed tears, already streamed on her face, and looked so shocked. She turned her head and found a worried Naruto who was awakened. Without warning him, Emilia lunged at him and hugged his body. Naruto blinked his eyes in confusion at her and wondered why she was crying, so he hugged her back and rubbed her back. He whispered sweet words in her ear, assuring her he's here. It wasn't too long to stop her cry as she pulled away from his embrace and cleaned her tears she left. She took a deep breath slowly and looked at Naruto clearly after she cleaned her tears. Emilia, are you okay? Naruto asked her first, holding her hands with his hands. I'm okay. I had a nightmare. Emilia answered while nodding her head. Naruto, could we go to Ellier Forest? I want to visit and see my people. Naruto stared at her for a few minutes and then he nodded his head if this was Emilia's wish. He leaned in toward her, touching her forehead with his forehead. After touching each other's forehead for several minutes, they pulled away from each other and stared at each other in their eyes. Emilia shed the tears again because she was thinking about her nightmare. It was terrifying and awful. Such an evil world with red sky that Emilia tried her best to describe. The disaster that is yet to come? Does that mean I saw the future? Emilia thought, thinking she saw a future or just a dream. She looked at Naruto for seconds until she reached her hands for his face and caressed his cheeks. You here? Yes, I'm here. Naruto said as he accepted her touch, wondering what's wrong with her. He felt her hands shaking with fear. What's wrong? He gently wiped her tears with his thumbs. I saw you die on my lap. You were holding my hand with blood on your hand. You were smiling at me in your horrible state. Emilia replied tiredly as she grabbed Naruto's hand with her hands. She rested her head against his head. Emilia, look at me. Naruto said as Emilia tilted her head up and looked into his azure eyes. Naruto placed his hands on her cheeks. I'm still alive and here with you. People have tried to kill me, but I'm still here with you. Your nightmares. Whatever you saw. I'm still alive, right here in front of you. Thank you, so much. It made Naruto surprised when Emilia fell asleep after she thanked him. Naruto placed her down on the bed gently and pulled the blanket up to cover her body. Himself, he laid down on the bed with Emilia before her body scooted over toward him, embracing him as she went back to sleep. Huh? He saw Emilia scoop closer to his side as she wrapped her arms around his body. Emilia? You're still with me, aren't you? She sobbed softly, still having a nightmare about him. Please don't ever go away. Yeah, I'm here. I'm right here. Naruto comforted her as he hugged her back. It has been a month since the attack on Priestella. Naruto and his friends stayed in Priestella to rest after fighting against the Archbishop's sins. However, they will leave this place tomorrow and head back to Melode's mansion. Right now, Naruto already made a plan to take Emilia to her homeland because she asked him to take her and go with her. Just keep going straight. Emilia said as she instructed Naruto to where the Ellier forest is. Naruto in Rikudo Sennin mode flew through the skies of Lagunic with the avatar of Kurama. As he flew lower under the cloud, he saw a whole place was packed with snow and had him surprised that snow kept going. No kidding, because it is a sunny day, but now this place is snowed. While he's still flying, his right sleeve was pulled as he turned his head to Emilia and gave her a what's up look on his face. The half-elf pointed her finger at the forest, so Naruto flew down even lower, but carefully not to cause a big earthquake. He landed on the ground safely before Kurama faded and his Rikudo Sennin mode deactivated as his body returned back into a normal body. Naruto, welcome to my home. Ellier Forest. Emilia said with a smile, looking at him who explored the snow a little and just now he looked at her. Good thing that Naruto brought a jacket with him because it's too cold for him to handle the temperature. This is so awesome. He exclaimed as he stretched his arms up. You look like a child, getting excited over something common like snow. Emilia said while giggling at her boyfriend's reaction. How could I not be excited? You have no idea how much I love to play with snow at my home. Naruto said. I see. Well then, let's go. Emilia said as she took his hand and held on before both of them began to walk to their destination. The icy snow crunched underneath their footsteps and left prints. The cold temperature allowed the vapor of their breaths to be visible. Naruto and Emilia held their hands, talking and joking around to each other. Eventually, they made their way to the destination. In the distance, the area was filled with looking crystal sculptures. However, they're not sculptures in Emilia's thought. Hello, everyone. I'm back. She said softly with a smile. It has been a year since she left this place for a candidate. Naruto looked at Emilia's face, feeling unhappy to reunite with her people. Her people were frozen because she unleashed her ice magic to kill Pandora with anger, but accidentally froze her people. His mind goes back in control when he saw Emilia using her towel to gently clean off the snow accumulating on the frozen elf. Even though they're frozen, they're still alive, so Naruto joined in and helped her to clean it. He summoned 50 clones to help them finish cleaning the sculptures for Emilia. It didn't take them too long because Naruto and his clones finished the other sculptures. Thank you. That really helps me. Emilia said with a sweet smile. It's no problem, Emilia. Naruto said as he dispelled his clones and explored this place a little. His eyes met the big tree with windows, caught him little surprise that this tree is actually a house. Oh. I remember I used to live there. Come on. I want to show you. She said, grabbing Naruto's hand as she dragged him to the tree. Emilia opened the door as both of them entered the house. Inside the house, it was so dusty on the floor, the wall, and fireplace. Everything is so dusty inside the house since she left it for royal selection. She remembered she lived in the house alone, just her and Puck. However, she felt so strange in her heart that she wasn't alone in the house. Of course, it's about her dream of seeing Naruto Uzumaki and want to forget it, but it somehow reminded her mind that she really did meet him before. Naruto, are you sure you can't remember anything? She asked as she held her hands, praying it was him just one more time. I remember you were in my house, talking and eating together. Naruto looked into her amethyst eyes, getting a feeling that they're telling him the truth. He tried to remember where he met Emilia in Ellier Forest, however, this place looks very familiar. Honestly, I can't remember, but this place is familiar. He answered, placing his hand on the head to remember it. I see. Emilia said with a smile as she held his hand with her hands. Don't push yourself to remember, you'll get dizzy. Naruto smiled at Emilia and nodded as both of them started to clean her house. It didn't take them too long to clean the house, all the dust was gone and the new bed which got replaced with a new one. It was Naruto's scroll that summoned a mattress for a bed. Right now, they sat on the 2 chairs with a table there. However, Emilia isn't sitting yet because she set a fire in the fireplace to cook. Good thing that she brought food from her backpack and thanked Rem for packing up food for them. It has been a long time since she has cooked it in this house and felt so lonely, but her mind reminded her that she wasn't alone. For sure, it was Naruto Uzumaki who lived with her in the house. I'm sure that Naruto was here with me in the past. I know this isn't a dream. Emilia thought, believing her dream is real. She did meet Naruto Uzumaki, but how come he doesn't remember? Maybe, he doesn't remember his past meeting her? Emilia finished the cooking food as she poured the soup into 2 bowls for her and Naruto. She passed 1 bowl for Naruto and the second for herself. Finally, they sat on their chairs and began to eat their meal, but before eating, they said itadakimasu. Now, they can eat their meal together. Emilia was happy to herself that she and Naruto ate together in her house. She giggled at her boyfriend when he accidentally burned his tongue with a hot soup and started to blow his soup. For a minute, Emilia realized that she'd always lived alone in her house from the past and the mansion before Naruto arrived. Right now, he's here in the house with her. The tears suddenly streamed from her eyes. Emilia Naruto's voice got cut off as the silver-haired girl flung herself into his arms. I've always lived alone. This is the first time I've ever felt like this. And nobody wants me because I look like a witch. Emilia sobbed with her shaky voice. So, when you are here, I didn't think I would be able to feel like this. To think that I will be able to spend. Thank you, Naruto. Naruto widened his eyes in shock slightly, but he smiled and hugged her body. You know, Emilia. That is what I should be saying. He said as Emilia pulled away a bit and looked at him. What do you mean? She asked. I'm like you. I've always lived alone. I'm sure I told you about my friends and my sensei. They came visit me, but it was never enough. He smiled as he wiped his girlfriend's tears with his thumbs and leaned in forward her forehead, touching it with his forehead. To spend your days happily. For me to make that happen. I'm so happy I have you. Thank you, Emilia. He had his hand on Emilia's cheek. This girl couldn't hold back her emotions. Emilia has always been alone in her house, but she told Naruto that she was with someone who almost looks like him. He felt very familiar with her story, almost like he already met her before. He wanted to know if this is true that he really met her, but sadly, he couldn't remember. He may have lost his memory of meeting Emilia, but he could do it again. All he wanted to make her smile again. After an hour of lunch and fun, Naruto agreed with Emilia to explore Ellier Forest with her. The sun was still bright, and the snow was just perfect for them to play with it. There was a little bit of wind that made the tree wave and snow dropped that made relaxing even better. Naruto and Emilia both held their hands while Emilia showed him the other places in Ellier Forest that he had never seen. The two lovebirds battled each other, throwing the snowballs to each other. The battle was quite close between them, but near the end Emilia sort of cheated by sliding on the snow with a snowboard. She threw a couple of snowballs at Naruto and jumped on his body. He fell on the ground. Laying on top of his body, Emilia and Naruto laughed at each other like a child. Emilia finished her laughing as she leaned in and kissed on his lip. She rested her head on his chest with a soft breath from her chest after the fun they had. With Naruto right here, she always had so much fun with him. Do you have fun? Naruto asked as the silver-haired girl nodded and looked up to him with a warm smile on her face. Seeing her smile, it put him a smile on his face. Do you remember when we first met? She asked. Yes, I do. I remember you picked me as the wrong person. Oh yeah. I remembered you screamed when I jumped and ran really fast. You got really scared. He said with a smug face, making his girlfriend pout as she put snow on his face. Then, he laughed at her and couldn't help but smile at her adorable face. That wasn't really nice. How mean of you, meanie. You nincompoop. She yelled at her boyfriend for making fun of her as she pounded her fists on his chest. After Naruto cleaned himself from the snow, he looked at an angry Emilia. Sorry. You're too cute when you're angry. He said before his ribs were assaulted by Emilia's finger, starting to laugh. Huh? Say that again or else I will tickle you. She said. Okay. You win. I'm sorry. He smiled. Emilia finally smiled and accepted his forgiveness. She and Naruto got up, holding his hand. She pulled him and showed him another place. After a couple of hours they had fun, the sun changed into a night. Naruto and Emilia are on their way to Emilia's old house. The temperature has gotten colder and colder, so they had to walk quickly, but they wouldn't worry about that. Hey, Naruto. Emilia said, holding his hand as he turned his head to her. Do you remember when I touched your hand back on our second day? She asked. Oh wow. I'm surprised you have that memory. Yes, I remember. He said. I really mean it. You're a really good person in the world. I'm happy I met you. She smiled. Naruto gave a smile back to her before he had to look up at the sky. Emilia, before we go head back inside, I want to show you something. He said. Sure, what is that you want me to, Kaya? Emilia let out a squeal as her body suddenly scooped up in his arms. Her hands were already hooked on his shirt when he jumped on the tree branches. Emilia and Naruto jumped up several branches until they reached the top of the tree. They stood on the large branch, which was strong enough for them to sit. The tree they sat was big for them to see trees on there and the sky. Naruto sat on the branch first as he pulled Emilia's small hand to sit next to him. Emilia's face was too cute when she had a question expression on her face. What is that you want to show me? She asked. What a minute. Just look. He said. Soon the night grew even darker and the clouds cleared, a beautiful light green color lightened up in the sky. Wow. This is beautiful. I didn't know that the sky could light like this. Emilia said as she looked at the sky with childlike wonder. Her cheeks are rose-colored and her happy smile. Naruto. What's this? Well, this is called Northern Lights. After I completed my mission when I was 13-year-old, a good friend showed me and my friends the Northern Lights. He said. I wished I had learned about this earlier. She said as her head rested on the crook of his neck, further warming herself up. Naruto couldn't help but smile as his arm wrapped around her side to keep her warm. Here he was, watching the aurora with a beautiful and amazing girl on his side who got comfortable in his arms. She then looked at him with her cute smile like she always does. Emilia, can you close your eyes? He asked. The silver-haired girl blinked her eyes at him in confusion, but she nodded as she was being told and closed her eyes. She felt Naruto's hand grab her left hand, and found his other hand, but he placed something on her finger. Emilia was wondering what he put on her finger because she recognized this feeling. She read the book before, but she forgot what it looks like. Then, Emilia didn't feel Naruto's hand anymore when he removed it from her hand. It wasn't fair that she closed her eyes and wanted to find out what he put until now she heard his voice. Open your eyes now. Naruto said. Okay. Emilia opened her eyes and looked at her left hand. Her eyes widened in shock when she saw a silver ring in her finger. This is... A blush colored on Naruto's cheeks while scratching the back of his head. Yeah, I know this isn't over, however, we could make it after everything is over. I want you to know that I love you always, and, you are my world. He said as he now held Emilia's left hand with both hands. Emilia was speechless, listening to him with her widened eyes. Emilia, you always stand by my side without questions. Always be here for me. Whenever I'm hurt, sad, or stressed, you support me and don't stop until you see me smile. You make me feel happy, loved, and protected. You make me a better person and I don't want to live my life without you by my stand. Will you be my wife? Emilia leaked the tears from her eyes, covered her mouth with her hands, feeling relieved. Yes, I love to be your wife. She cried as she hugged Naruto, feeling so happy that he proposed to her to be his wife. She never felt this much happier than before. Her heartbeat went really crazy fast when Naruto proposed her to be his wife. Was this how it felt like getting proposed by a man? Naruto gently put his hand on Emilia's cheek and looked at her eyes. I love you. He said softly, noticing her cheeks and ears are super red. I love you too. Emilia said. Naruto's lips couldn't wait anymore as he kissed her when she finished the sentence. Both of them kissed for about 3 minutes until they let go of each other for breathing. Emilia was carried by Naruto and simply dashed both of themselves to the house. They noticed that there was a single bed for them. Lemon start. Naruto placed his hands on Emilia's cheeks while looking at her eyes. Beautiful, he never avoided them. He saw her face portrayed growing desires as well, and she grabbed his right hand. As he stared at her, she closed her eyes and puckered her lips, telling him that she felt the same way. He pulled her towards him and leaned closer to her as his lips pressed against hers. He lowered his left hand from Emilia's face and placed both hands on her waist, both of them walking toward the bed as Emilia wrapped her arms around his neck and locked on it. Naruto placed her on the bed gently, holding her back of her head with his hand and continuing to kiss her. Emilia felt magical in her body from Naruto while kissing him. She didn't know what's on her mind, but she started to love that feeling. Her hands buried themselves in his hair, making a mess of his spiky blonde locks. She kissed him back, pouring all of the emotion she felt for him, the undying amounts of love, into the kiss. They grew hungrier, intensifying the pleasure as they kissed for a few minutes until they separated and left a connected trail of saliva as they caught their breaths for air. And Naruto? Emilia said, panting as the heat inside her became too much. I can't be breath. I need air. Naruto replied with a nod, moving away from his girlfriend so she could have a space and catch her breath. Seeing her pure white skin on her neck, he went for her neck and kissed on it. Emilia moaned lightly as Naruto's lips graced her skin. She threw her head back, starting to take off her neck collar that was in his way, so she could feel his touch kissing on her skin. The silver-haired half-elf didn't know what she was doing, but she felt so great having Naruto kissing on her neck. Instantly, Emilia's arms brought his head closer to her neck, wanting to feel his touch again as she let out moans of pleasure. She caught her breath for air and felt the heat in her body, getting sweat on her clothes. She began to undress them. Lucky for her, Naruto noticed as he helped her to undress until her leftover is white bra and pantai with a subtle pure white silver. Emilia's body was soft and smooth, and her skin was white as snow. Her face glowed red with embarrassment, but she didn't hide anything from Naruto. With his girlfriend dressed in the leftover, he gently placed her on the bed and stood up to remove his clothes. While this was going on, Emilia took the chance to gaze at the sight of Naruto's body. It was her first time seeing a man's body without a shirt. She raised her hands up for his bare chest, tracing on it with her fingers, and his body felt like it was made of steel. Touching his body, it got her curious, and she continued touching it. Her mind was lost in the moment, the pink glow hue colored on her cheeks. Is this what the body of man feels like? What will happen if I... Emilia thought as she stood up on her knees and leaned forward Naruto. She kissed on his neck, making him let out a husky breath. Emilia felt Naruto's hot breath on her ear as she looked up at his face. "Hey, are you okay?" I am sorry." She apologized nervously, hoping she didn't mean to do that to him until her lips tasted another pear. Her eyes closed as she wrapped her legs around his waist. The shinobi brought his hand on her leg, stroking her and getting a squeak from the girl who didn't complain and let the blonde continue on his way to where he should have gone. He felt wet under her panties, so he inserted his fingers in her core. His fingers moved in and out of her, making her moan. After stroking that sensitive nerve, Emilia's body twitched wildly. Naruto's hand was pulled out of her core, seeing that his hand was wet. Naruto put his hand in front of Emilia's face. She took his hand and began to suck on his finger and rest of his hand, wiping her own fluids with her mouth. The silver-haired girl was carried away by excitement and just doing what she was doing without caring about anything else. "Emilia. Emilia." Naruto repeated her name with heavy breathing as he continued to kiss her lips. His right hand snaked underneath Emilia's back and started to unbutton her bra, but he stopped unbuttoned and controlled his hormones. "What's wrong?" Emilia concerned, looking at Naruto's worried face. "Sorry. I got a little excited. Out of a character, you know." He muttered as he gave her a sheepishly smile. "Do you even know what dash?" "I know what sex is," she declared boldly with a blush on her face. "At first, I thought babies come from kissing, which Puck told me. I didn't believe him, so I read a book, and there was a warning. So, oh wow. You know we can stop dash." The silver-haired half-elf only caressed his whiskers cheek and gave him a sweet smile. "It's okay. I love you. I want you to be with you as long as possible. I want both of us to be happy for ourselves. I want this memory to stay in us," she said softly as she removed her bra and exposed them to Naruto. Emilia noticed his face is so red and he's so innocent, couldn't help that he had a cute face. Before Naruto could say anything, Emilia took his hand and placed it on her right breast. She moaned gently when she felt his hand touching her nipple. Acting more on instinct than on anything else, Naruto gave a squeeze, making Emilia moan as both of them shared their kisses again. Then, Naruto pulled away from her kiss and nipped her nipple as his tongue licked a taste on it, hearing her cute moan. Emilia squealed when he lightly bit her other nipple and pulled on it with his teeth. Naruto let Emilia's nipple fall from his mouth and looked at her, who had sweat over her face. "Emilia, I think it's time for you to remove your..." He meant removing her panty as she nodded and removed it. Same goes for him, he removed his boxers. Emilia's face went scarlet red all the way up to the tip of her ears when Naruto removed his boxers, her first time to do this with him. She read a book about mating and how babies come from. And, she didn't know the size, would be big. Are you ready, Emilia? It's gonna hurt." Naruto warned his girlfriend, feeling a little nervous about his first time. Emilia spread her legs open to fully reveal her core. I am ready," she said, feeling nervous, too, as she wrapped her arms around Naruto's neck and brought his face closer to her face. He thrust it into Emilia's inside and she started letting out moans of both pain and pleasure. His movements were slow at first, only making sure she's okay after that before her smile was crossed. Her hands were holding on his cheeks before they wrapped around his neck. Then, her boyfriend started again as he thrusted forward her inside, letting out her moan. The sound of Naruto thrusting her insides was getting louder and louder. He groaned how tight her core was. It was so tight and wet inside, he couldn't control himself as he kept going and going until they tired. "Oh spirit! Naruto!" Emilia moaned as she wrapped her legs around his waist while getting her core thrust by him. "Faster, Naruto!" Her voice broke into a sexy moan, she overwhelmed with pleasure. Emilia's voice reached into Naruto's ears. He started increasing his pace as he continued to thrust her core. Tears began to well up in Emilia's eyes as her arms fell on the bed, opening her hands for him to hold them. Naruto took her hands and grasped them. Feeling the pleasure, Naruto decided to change and had a good way to finish. He stopped and gently began shifting his body. Emilia was confused why he did that, but she followed him. Lifting up a drowsy-looking Emilia's body, Naruto moved underneath. Eventually, the two of them switched positions, with him on his back and Emilia in a mounted position on top of him. As soon as Emilia realized what sort of position she was in, her face turned red, even redder, as she shook her head from side to side. "This is embarrassing," she said as her body hasn't touched him. "Sit on it and try to move," Naruto said. Emilia blushed shyly as she nodded and sat on him before she moaned softly as her core reached him. She then started riding him and her entrance entered his hard part. Naruto pulled himself up and placed his arms behind Emilia's back while moving his clutch up and down. Her face fell into his shoulder, underneath her chin, and her arms already wrapped around his neck with her arms. Emilia didn't know what to do with him. She felt so great with him. Her mouth, open in a small O of rapture, released a series of pants and moans. Her body was covered in a light of sheen sweat. After seconds of moaning, Naruto claimed Emilia's lips into his and engaged in another hungry kiss. Their tongues danced around each other as she wrapped her arms around his neck and ground her crotch into his as the hot cream began to overflow as the kiss went for a few minutes until they separated due to the need of air. Emilia was the first who collapsed onto Naruto's right shoulder as he caught her and still had a little strength. Emilia is really exhausted, catching her breath slowly as she lifted her arms and wrapped around his neck to pull him into a hug. She wanted to hug him before starting to fall asleep, but her eyes widened slightly when her waist got wrapped by Naruto's arms as he received her back with a hug. Her eyes were closed as she showed her happiness. "Emilia, how was it for you?" Naruto asked gently. The half-elf gave a pleased, tired smile. "Wonderful. I'm so happy we did it," she replied slowly with tears before she began to clean them. Naruto and Emilia laid onto the bed as they held each other in embrace. Emilia rested her head on top of him and looked at him straight in the eyes while giving him a heartwarming smile. "I love you, Naruto," she said. "I love you too, Emilia." He kissed her lips, watching her eyes close as she started to fall asleep. "You must be tired. Go sleep." He watched her fall asleep as she cuddled into his chest. Then, it's his turn to go to sleep now, just like her after they made out. He was a heavy sleeper except for one person who was light asleep. Emilia had awakened after he went to sleep in last place, so she took her time to look at his face. She began to run her fingers through his spiky hair, continuing until it went down on his cheek. She loved Naruto. Even though he wasn't from here, he's been here by her side ever since the day they first met. And despite all that happened, he was always thinking of her. The truth is she didn't care about becoming a queen, but she can't give up her dream. She just wanted to be with Naruto and be happy. She wanted to start a family with him. "Please take care of our son for me. Make him happy so he doesn't feel alone. I love you, Emilia." "I promised. I will make him happy," Emilia said gently with a warm smile as she laid down her head on Naruto's shoulder and rested against the crook of his neck. Sleepy Naruto pulled her closer to him and wrapped his other arm around her waist. He mumbled to her that he will protect her and always stay with her. Hearing that from him, it made Emilia smile as she closed her eyes and relaxed, finally drifting off to a deep slumber. Lemon ended. Emilia was awoken from her sleep by the sunlight assaulting her eyes. She realized she was alone on the bed and saw the robe on the chair next to her. She sat up to stretch when suddenly she winced when she moved her legs. She then remembered that she and Naruto had a sex. She smiled when she remembered the beautiful act that caused that ache. She sighed happily before she was grabbing the robe, but Naruto came in her house from outside. "Naruto?" She spoke softly as she got out of bed slowly and stood on shaky legs. She squealed when Naruto scooped her up into his arms bridal style as he simply teleported her outside to the hot spring. Naruto placed Emilia on his laps when two of them landed in the hot water. "Morning beautiful," he said as he embraced her from behind. "Morning handsome," she said as she kissed him. "Feel better?" he asked. "Yes, it feels better," she said, but she began to wonder how he made a hot spring in Ellier forest. It had her very surprised. "Naruto, how did you make a hot spring?" "I didn't," I switched my mind with Sun's mind. He's the one who made a hot spring for us. Naruto said as he gave a thumb up to Sun in Mindscape for creating a hot spring. Emilia blinked her eyes at Naruto and didn't know he could do that, switching minds with Bijus. I didn't know he could do that. I'm surprised. She commented about Sun's skills, the fourth-tailed beast. Anyways, talking about the hot spring, Emilia felt so relaxed in the hot water and comfortable in Naruto's arms holding her body. His arms always felt so wonderful and strong over her body because it was almost like he's a guardian to her. When she leaned her head against his chest, she always loved hearing his heartbeat because the noises she loved and strong. Ever since the first meet and especially after revealing her race, they had grown much closer and kissed more often. A warm smile crossed her face and couldn't help to feel so happy for staying with Naruto. Her shining knight warmed her heart and made her smile. You look very happy, Naruto said, noticing her happy face. Emilia showed a happy face to him and let out a cute giggle. I am, because you made me happy, she said as she used the water to wash her hair and looked at her ring. I'm also happy that you proposed to me. I loved it. I'm happy you like it and accept it. He smiled, but his smile faded when he remembered the dream and death. He swore he won't leave Emilia like his nightmare. For a moment, he forgot that Emilia is still here with him, who looked at him with her worried expression. She noticed his expression, the same expression like the day he woke up from his nightmare. She couldn't wait anymore, but she had to make him tell her about his nightmare. Emilia turned her body and got a good look at Naruto's eyes. She placed her hands on his cheeks and decided to talk with him about the nightmare. Naruto, you can tell me now. I'm here for you, she said with a sweet smile on her face. Emilia. No matter how many times they can stop me. No matter how hard it gets. Whatever it takes. I promise I will find impossible ways to get back here. I know one of my friends who can take me here, but if he won't, I won't give up, Naruto said as he took Emilia's hand and grasped it. In my nightmare, I'm scared that you will turn into a different person. I don't want you to become that person, so I will try my best to come back for you. Emilia found a deep sadness from him, her first time to find it. Naruto, is this why you didn't want to tell me? You're scared when you leave me alone, then I turn into a different person? She asked softly as her new future husband nodded to her, but it turned out that she smiled at him and made him look. Naruto, I won't become that person like your nightmare. No matter what you say to me, I can wait for you. Will you promise me that you will not become that person like my nightmare? He asked. I promise, Naruto, you taught me how to become a strong woman and how to grow. I promise I will not become that person. She wore the same smile as she stood up on her knees and kissed on Naruto's forehead. Like I said, I can wait for you. Emilia. Emilia. Naruto hugged Emilia, wrapping his arms around her waist. He felt her warmth, healing his heart, and she's the best girl in his life. I won't let you down. I know you won't let me down. I'm afraid that you will have a pain in your heart, but I'm happy I can help you. If you're in pain, I will save you. That's what a girlfriend does, she said as she and Naruto pulled away from their embrace. She caressed his cheeks with great tenderness and care. Naruto, I met your parents. Naruto's eyes widened in shock, almost not believing her when she told him that she met his parents. Why, you did? Since when? He asked. That was day 1 in Prestella before tomorrow. I met your parents in my dream. I talked with them. They told me all about you, and I told them all about you, Emilia said as she rested her head on Naruto's chest. I want you to know that they loved you so much. They have watched us since the beginning. Oh wow. That's great. See? I told you my parents are awesome. Hee hee hee. She giggled as she smiled at him and held his hand. She really likes to meet Naruto's parents, Minato and Kushina again because they're nicest people in the world. She knew what it felt like meeting his parents. It felt so nice to meet them and she wished that herself and Naruto could meet his parents again. They have something very special that they wanted to tell them. Say. Do you remember anything about the Ellier forest before you froze yourself and everyone? Naruto asked, wanting to know why Pandora is in Ellier forest and wants to see Emilia before the whole place was frozen. Well, I remembered a platinum-haired woman wants me to open the door for her because she said I am the key to unlock it. But I didn't because I never broke my Aunt Fortuna's promise, she said. A key? What kind of key? he asked. I don't remember that much. When I entered the place she wished me to go, the key suddenly appeared in my hands. Like I said, I never broke my Aunt Fortuna's promise, she said. Naruto nodded and began to wonder why Pandora tells Emilia to open the door for her. What was behind the door? It's exactly the same thoughts as Kurama and the other Bijus. They're questioning about the door in Ellier Forest. Maybe his thoughts were wrong about Pandora's goal, unleashing the Witch of Envy, said Ella. Maybe she's here for that door, so she told Emilia to help her open the door for her. It was quite lucky that Emilia didn't open for her because of her Aunt Fortuna's promise that she would never break. Emilia, can you show me the door is? Naruto asked. Emilia looked at him, her head. Yes, I will take you there after we finish our bath, she said with a smile as she cleaned her body with water. Your body is beautiful. Naruto buried his face into her neck and scattered a few kisses. Even if your body needs to be washed, it's still beautiful to me. It makes me want to kiss your skin, he told her, his hot breath whispering in her ear. Emilia's face turned really red as his kisses made her shiver slightly. And Naruto? She moaned slightly as she turned her body over in front of him. At first she pushed his chest away, but when he gave more kisses on her neck she didn't try to push him away again. She felt so good that her future husband doing to her every single kiss was driving her crazy, and she was already feeling the effects of his kisses. Her body started to feel hot, along that she felt weird and uncertain between her legs. She could clearly feel the wetness coming from her crotch. Even her hips are still sore, but she wanted to do it again like last night. Emilia leaned in closer and claimed Naruto's lips with her own. It wasn't long before she added her tongue. Both were now locked in a soft tongue war as Naruto wrapped his arms around her waist to pull her towards him. The silver-haired half-elf moaned softly, accepting his actions because she liked it very much. However, both of them gained some control. It was mostly Emilia who stopped kissing first and gently pushed Naruto's chest away from her body. Both stared at each other in their eyes. They wanted to do it again, but they have to leave today. Naruto looked at his girlfriend, Emilia, with a warm smile on his face. As the two smiled at each other, they finally got out of a hot spring, grabbed their extra towel and headed back to Emilia's house. But first, Naruto had to dispel the hot spring and carried Emilia in bridal style, quickly dashing towards the door. After Naruto and Emilia dressed up for several minutes, they had to eat breakfast first before heading out. Emilia looked at him with a smile on her face, feeling so much happier than yesterday. She wished Puck was here because she wanted to tell him the story. She was ready to leave, but there's something she needed to do before that. Hey, Naruto. Can you pass me your kunai? Emilia asked. Naruto heard her and looked a bit shocked at Emilia's question, but he saw her smile, telling him that she'll be fine. Alright, but don't cut yourself, he said before he gave her his kunai in her hand. He noticed there was a smug on her face. Suddenly, Emilia cut her long hair with a kunai that she got from Naruto. She made her hair into a short. It got Naruto surprised to see her do that. What do you think of my hair? Emilia asked with a smile as she turned around and looked at Naruto. I love your hair, but I'm going to miss your long hair, he replied. I'm glad you're being honest, she said as she opened her arms. Carry me. Her legs and hips are still sore. Naruto smiled as he approached and had her arms wrapped around his neck. He carried her a piggyback ride. They're on their way to the one place where Emilia got the key. They smiled at each other in comfort and love, walking together to their destination. After Naruto and Emilia dressed up in several minutes, they're on their way to the one place where Emilia got the key. Their hand held together in comfort and love, walking together to their destination. It didn't take too long to find the place, because Emilia remembered that direction. The surroundings of the door are surrounded by white trees and the whole area looks like a sacred place. The seal itself takes the form of a double door which stands on its own, not connecting with any buildings or trees. It appears to be made out of wood. This place is amazing. Naruto commented about the place they're in, but his gaze left it for the door he should be focused on. Emilia is in front of the door, trying to remember how she got a key. If I remember correctly, maybe I should say, I am a key, she thought as she focused on only that image. Instantly, she felt a weight in her hands. She looked at them, to find that she is grasping a large, ancient, silver key. Emilia, did you find something? Naruto asked as he looked at her. I found a key, she said as she showed him a large key, but there is something unnatural about his face. A key? I don't see it. He said. Emilia made her face into confusion, wondering why he didn't see the key in her hands. Naruto. The key is right in my hands. You can't see it? She asked as he shook his head at no word, still didn't see the key. That was strange, because she held a key on her hands and showed it to Naruto. But, he didn't see the key on her hands, and it was just right on her hands. She didn't know why the key didn't let him see it. That key will only be given to the hands of the qualified. A familiar voice caught the two's attention as Emilia looked at her crystal necklace, glowing the blue color and sparkling-looking fireflies. The lights gathered into one and it revealed to be Puck. His arrival surprised Emilia as she hugged him, nuzzling on his nose. Puck, thank goodness, she said, feeling so happy to see Puck again since his absence. Lia, I'm so sorry that I've been absent so long. I wanted to help you for trial, but I have to leave you, so you can handle yourself. Puck said sadly, feeling ashamed for leaving her behind. Emilia shook her head and accepted his apology. I already forgave you, Puck, since you left me. I understand, she said with a warm smile, seeing Puck smile back to her. Thank you, Lia. You have changed. I see that Naruto has taken care of you, he said while looking at Naruto, who chuckled and smiled at him. Welcome back, Puck. You missed a lot of adventures, Naruto said with a smile. Yeah, I know that. I've been gone a while. Anyways, thank you for taking care of Lia. Without your help, who knows what is gonna happen if she didn't pass the trial. I knew I'd count on you, he said before he noticed himself and the two were in Ellier Forest. By the way, why are we in Ellier Forest? We're in Ellier Forest because I wanted to see my people. We're here because Naruto is curious about the sealed door, Emilia said as she pointed her finger at the sealed door. But, her finger fell for what she just saw as she walked toward the sealed door. She kept walking until she stopped in front of the sealed door. Her eyes rolled down to the ground and found a lifeless frozen body. Mother Fortuna. She called the lifeless body's name. It has been like 118 years since Emilia froze a whole place, or probably 18 years since she left to go do the candidate. Mother Fortuna's lifeless body is still there and frozen. Even though she unfroze her, she's still not coming back alive. Emilia has a lot of things to tell her about her fun adventures and making friends. She wanted to tell her that she found her first love, Naruto Uzumaki. Emilia started to have tears in her eyes, remembering how much she loves Mother Fortuna. She really missed her so much. She wished she could see Mother Fortuna again, so she could tell her a story about how she meets Naruto Uzumaki. She always wanted her to meet him. Is that her? She heard Naruto's voice as she turned around to him. She nodded and walked toward him, leaning her head against his chest. I missed her so much. Emilia spoke softly as she hugged him and buried her face into Naruto's chest. She nuzzled him. Naruto narrowed his eyes at her softly and kindly before he hugged her back. I know, he said as he rubbed her back. She raised her head and looked at him with tears on her face. Poor Emilia. It hurt Naruto's heart seeing her face like that. He has the same experiences of losing family like Emilia's family. Her family has to sacrifice their lives to protect her life from Pandora. Naruto gently wiped Emilia's tears with his thumb. Emilia, deep inside in your heart, she will always be in your heart. He comforted her as she nodded to him. She seemed to feel better from his words. Thank you, the half-elf said with a smile on her face as she looked at Puck. She almost forgot that he's still here and always wanted to question him about the sealed door. Puck, what's behind this sealed door? Lia, behind this sealed door is you cannot use the key to open for anyone. Fortuna didn't want you to know because you were a child. But, she wanted you to stay away from it. So did the Betelgeuse and elves. Puck said as he flew towards Emilia. You're special. The reason why you're the only one that can see the key, but no one sees is because you're special. That's why Fortuna, Betelgeuse, and the elves wanted to keep you safe. They must be entrusting the key to Emilia. Naruto said. Who is behind the door? Do you know? Naruto, since you've been staying and taking care of Emilia for me, yes, I will tell you anything. Puck said. But, before I say this, Naruto. Do you know where Sadella is? Sadella sealed in the Pleiades watchtower, right? He asked. That's right. And you're planning to go there and free Sadella? he asked, narrowing his eyes in seriousness at Naruto. He read his mind just a few minutes ago. Emilia knew Puck would use a mind reading on Naruto. Without hesitation, she held Naruto's hand and looked at Puck. Puck. You know that I won't let you stop him. She said. Yes, I know. I believe Naruto already has an answer. If Liao wants to help him, then I will help you too to free Sadella from the seal. Puck said. Pooh father. I'd dash. There's no need to say anything, Liao. You trusted Naruto so much more than me. I'm happy that you went out with him. But, I must warn you that if you free Sadella, Reinhard will be there for you in no time. Puck warned Naruto as he nodded his warning. Good. Where were we? Oh yes. About the sealed door you asked, dash. So, this is Naruto Uzumaki who possesses a witch factor. A feminine voice interrupted the three. They turned around and found a beautiful young woman with long straight platinum hair. A blue ribbon tied into her hair. Her eyes were dark blue. She wore a single sheet of white fabric that covered her torso and had a line of deep blue stitches at the top matching blue ribbon. The present she held isn't that of an ordinary person, and her appearance is not what an ordinary person would have. Her voice possesses an almost magical allure, binding the minds and bodies of those who hear nobody present here capable of saying anything anymore. Naruto looked at the young woman, his eyes narrowing in confusion. Who are you? He asked as he stepped in front of Emilia to protect her. Damn you Pandora. Puck thrusted out his paws to generate ice magic crystals before her. The ice crystals launched off with incredible speed, flying forward and directly hitting Pandora. Naruto. Don't hold back. She's dangerous. My. Emilia has grown up. I see that she made a friend of him. A human. That's very sweet. Naruto heard Pandora's voice, feeling that she was near here in his distance. His head turned to the right and found her, who was right next to him. It shocked him that she's alive after Puck killed her first. Seeing her alive, Naruto smashed right in her face with a Rasengan on right hand, not holding back his strength. It was a direct hit, but something wasn't right when he killed her. Magnificent. Pandora said, standing a few feet away from Naruto and the two. Her eyes focused on Naruto, who killed her seconds ago. This is the power that you killed Archbishop Sins. You are indeed very powerful. She saw his azure eyes have turned sun-colored eyes. You. Emilia remembered Pandora's face and her appearance since she lost her memory of the day of Ellier Forest. She was the one who erased her memory. It's you. She created an ice sword to fight her. Emilia remembered everything and Pandora. This woman is the one who made Betelgeuse accidentally kill Mother Fortuna. You remember me, Emilia? It warms my heart. Pandora's voice got cut off when the ice spears shot through her face by Puck. However, after she was killed, she appeared in the same spot where her pile of blood was. Don't act like you care about her. You killed Emilia's family and Fortuna. I won't forgive you for this. Puck yelled. Oh my. I haven't seen Puck in such a long time. She said, looking at Puck, but her gaze left him for Naruto. It seems like Sadella chose the right person after she was sealed. You know she really missed you so much. Naruto did a flying knee right underneath her jaws before she could speak. He grabbed her head and slammed her on the ground, pinning her down. After he pinned her, he had Gudo rod in his right hand, preparing to finish her off. His Gudo rod almost struck Pandora's face when he stopped and met a familiar face. Silver hair. Amethyst eyes. Pointed ears. Black dresses. Satella? He looked at Sadella, who got pinned by him. Naruto. That's not Sadella. Emilia's voice broke Naruto out of mind as his eyesight looked at Sadella again, but she suddenly changed back to Pandora. That wasn't a transformation. An illusion that makes someone think this is real. Without a damn illusion, Naruto began to finish Pandora off, but a black liquid-looking snake attacked him coming from the forest. He dodged the attack by jumping away and left Pandora, but the black liquid stretched out to reach him. However, the ice crystals shot inside the liquid and produced the ice to freeze them. Naruto turned around and saw Emilia, who shot ice crystals and saved his life from a beast. The half-elf approached Naruto and stood by his side while holding an ice sword with her right hand. Both stood together and prepared to fight Pandora and the black snake. When they stood and fought together, they gave Pandora an emotional What a beautiful moment. I'm deeply moved. Truly, how wonderful it is to see such love. Pandora said softly with tears. Unfortunately, I have to leave. I just came here to see Emilia and meet Naruto. It's nice to meet you. Wait. Naruto charged Pandora before she could get away, but it was too late for him. A black snake struck at his face, but his good Odama defended him automatically by changing the shape into a square. When a black snake touched, it turned into dust and faded away like a wind. But more came and attacked Naruto. He was going to attack them, but he saw Emilia go in front of him and slashed snakes for him. Her ice sword froze snakes and broke into pieces when she slashed it. Both fought together against the black snake by slashing and using their own techniques. Naruto could easily obliterate the snakes with strong jutsu if he wanted to, but it would take out the surrounding area too, in order not to hurt the frozen elves. However, Emilia jumped in front of him and thrusted out her arms, starting to freeze all of them. Freezing all of them was what Emilia planned to do, but one part wasn't planned. Her yellow magic appeared and instantly froze all of the snakes. After that, the frozen snakes broke apart in pieces. Her power is overkilled and almost froze the entire forest, but she managed to stop her power before it was going to reach the frozen elves. Emilia blinked when she realized what she did and looked at Naruto, who had the same surprised expression as hers. The shinobi blinked and saw what she did. Emilia, are you okay? He asked, checking her if she's alright after she used yellow magic. Yeah, I'm okay, but I didn't know I had that in me. I felt strong when the yellow magic appeared, she said. Interesting. Wait. Puck narrowed his eyes in seriousness at Naruto and Emilia. About that yellow magic. Why does it look like Naruto's chakra? Naruto and Emilia blushed at the same time when they realized what he meant. They had sex last night, but that didn't explain how Emilia got yellow chakra. Naruto looked at Kurama in the mindscape, praying if this isn't true. The yellow magic was almost like Kurama's chakra. Oh fuck. I just figured it out, Kurama said. So say it. Sun said. Remember that Naruto and I are linked together. We shared chakra. He must have used my chakra. Well, it seems like our boy finally did it with his girl, Kurama said, giving his 2 thumbs up to Naruto. What? Naruto shocked. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kaioshin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my P at Trian. Many thanks to my awesome patrons. Ben Phillips, Yami Tancho, Harold's Martinsons. If you like this content, don't forget. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be here until next time.